Welcome to Haken, an Animal Crossing podcast, your podcast dedicated to all things Animal Crossing. This episode is brought to you by Cesar, one of our newest Patreon patrons. Today, Sergio and I will be talking about some major Pocket Camp updates, what Sergio wants to see in Animal Crossing Switch, and some of your worries about the new game. So to begin, hello Sergio, how are you doing?
Hello Chewy, I'm doing quite well. What about yourself?
I'm doing well. It's been a productive weekend. I'm pretty excited. I don't know when I'm going to put this new video out, but I think it's going to be one that's going to be fun for people. I'm excited to put it out there what it is, because I haven't exactly told anybody outside of, I guess, just the Haken Villagers know what's coming. And I haven't talked about it in a while, so maybe they've forgotten by now. But yeah, I've made the first video for this new series, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be a good time.
Oh, nice.
So I've looked at your Switch. Well, I saw you were online a couple times. I saw you've been playing a little bit of Smash Bros. And some Wargroove. Is that right?
No, I haven't gotten Wargroove, but there's a lot of people that have, and it's very tempting to get it. But actually, the game that I've been playing is I finally restarted Zelda Breath of the Wild. So even if I wanted Wargroove, I don't think I should. I should stick with Zelda again. And oh man, it's so much fun. I don't know why I stopped playing it. It's a ton of fun.
Yeah, that's right. I forget who I saw who was playing Wargroove, but it was Zelda that I saw you on.
Okay.
And I was like, oh yeah, Sergio's getting through that backlog list of games now. Yeah, Zelda's fun. I think it's a good, I don't know, I feel like a lot of people have a good time playing Zelda. And there are a few people that I've met who are just have not been able to get into this one as much. Or maybe they're not big Zelda fans to begin with, but I don't know. For the most part, I think it's a pretty great game. It's fun to play.
Yeah, it can definitely be very intimidating, especially for Zelda, because it's the first open world, and what a huge world it is.
Yeah, it's big. I played that game for hours upon hours for the first 2 months the Switch was out. So I haven't really felt a need to get back to it until kind of recently. So the DLC came out and everything, and I was like, oh man, it's really cool that's out, but I'm not ready to come back to this yet. I need to wait more.
Right.
So anyways, let's get into our first topic, and that is some major Pocket Camp updates. And just like Zelda is a game that you can play for a long time, these updates are really targeted for players who have been playing Pocket Camp for a long time. So let's start by talking about one of the things that you aren't a huge fan of, and that's gardening events. So this time around, we've got Pelly visiting, and we have to catch some ladybug type of things. At first, I couldn't tell where they were because I thought it was just the flower, but it was a ladybug.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, so Pelly is visiting, and this is pretty nice. This is a character we haven't gotten to see yet.
Right.
I feel like they've been doing a good job of pulling in some characters we haven't seen each time. So every time we have one of these events, it's nice. It's nice to be able to see more of the Animal Crossing characters find their way into Pocket Camp, because it's been growing a lot. But anyways, so one of the biggest things they did with the gardening events, and this update specifically, is that they made it very easy to share your bugs. So if you remember from last time, or from when you played, you would essentially get your bugs, you'd go over to the other person's garden, drop them off one at a time. Eventually they added actually, they never really added an option to drop a bunch at a time.
No, I always wanted that.
Yeah, so now this is how it works. You go into your friends list, you pick a friend, it'll show you how many flowers they have open, it'll tell you what bugs they're still looking for. And then you can essentially just give them those bugs. You do this all from your friends list. You don't travel to their town or their campsite anymore. or their garden anymore to do this, but right from that screen, you can choose how many bugs you want to give them. And then they get them like instantly.
Oh, wow.
So it's just like a really fast way to handle all of those mechanics. Like you don't have the loading screen of having to go over to their place. You don't have to do them one at a time.
Yes.
Instead, in one fell swoop, you can fill up their flowers just like that. It's crazy.
Nice. And it's cool that it lets you know which ones they're looking for, because before, you just gave them whatever you had basically. You unless you talked somewhere else like on Discord, you really had no idea what they needed.
Yeah, I think for the most part, everybody kind of went with, if this color flower is in your garden, I'm going to give you the color bug that is associated with that flower.
Right,
you
right.
know? And so it kind of took a little bit of like paying attention to like, oh, what bug shows up on this again? Oh yeah, that one. Okay, I'll give you that bug on that flower. And now it's more of like, generally what they're needing. It doesn't matter what flowers they have. You can just give them whatever shows up on their list.
Nice. And just I want to make sure you still get seeds for giving the bugs away, right? You still get like a reward.
Yeah, you still get all of that. You get
Ooh.
the seeds, you get the friend powder, and then that also reminds me, you could also water plants for people, that's just one click. It's literally one click. It'll tell you if their plants need watering. You click that button that says water plants, and then you're done. Like their plants are, and you don't go to their campsite at all. It's on that same screen where you can share bugs, and yeah, it's so fast now. It's amazing how much easier, how much faster it is to play this game. Because if you remember in the beginning of our talks with Pocket Camp, well, maybe in the middle of our talks with Pocket Camp, when after we've played for a while, I complained a bit about how long it took to play the game. And
Yes.
there have been many things that have fixed that for me. One of the most important, of course, was me playing on a phone that could actually run the game.
Right.
But outside of that, like, actual hardware issue, there was, the software itself needed some improvement. And they've really hit that up with this latest update. Like, it's never been so easy to finish a gardening event. Like, I've been done with the first round of bugs and everything for like a full day now.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, and I don't even think, I feel like maybe Tuesday is when the next stuff starts to start. So whenever this episode is out, I think it's either Tuesday or Monday, or maybe it's later. I don't know. I'm just guessing. But regardless, it's really easy, and everybody knows exactly what everybody needs, and it's not a guessing game anymore.
Wow, yeah, it sounds really fancy. Like everyone installed a really cool irrigation system, and it's all automated.
Yeah, and I think the best part is, like, you and we have a lot of friends, mostly because we're on the Discord and everything, and I keep posting pretty regularly on the Pocket Camp chat where I'm like, okay, everybody, I don't need any more bugs. I'm done. Like, please share them with everybody else. I'm giving these to anybody who needs them. And so, like, I was pretty vocal about, like, trying to see who needed bugs, letting people know that I did not need any. But now, if they click on my name, they'll just see, oh, Chewy doesn't need any bugs. I don't have to give them to him.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so, like, once you're done with the event, like, that's it. Like, nobody will try to give them to you unless they're like, I really need to offload some bugs because I need some seeds, But outside of that, like, it makes it really friendly. Because I was always really sad for everybody who was still trying to get bugs, and I was there getting a ton of them. I was like, no, I'm going to catch as many of these as possible, and I'm going to give them to you because I don't need them.
Right.
Yeah, so gardening event they've mastered it at this point. I think they finally have gotten it to the point where it's like not as time consuming, because this was always the most time-consuming event whenever it happened, and it seems to be that the norm is going to continue this way, where we get a gardening event followed by a gyroid event followed by a fishing event. So, like, these events are coming in threes, and they're doing this regularly, and then you have the whole overarching task that's associated with that, I guess, month span, you know?
Right. Hmm.
Yeah, so also, the items are pretty cute that we're getting. They're like Valentine's Day themed,
Oh, nice.
and because it's coming up, it's almost
Yes.
Valentine's Day, which could be, let me check the date. Yeah, that's a Thursday, which people seem to think it's gonna be a Nintendo Direct on a Thursday. um, yeah, so actually, real quickly, let's go off topic for a little a little bit. Are you thinking this is the month? No, or are you sticking to the March is the month where we're getting a direct?
Ah, I, yeah, I'm sticking with that, but I think it would be better to if it was in February. I just think Nintendo's gonna stick with March, only because they already announced a couple of things, like we discussed before. But it would make more sense in February, especially after the Metroid Prime 4 delay announcement. You know, just to keep people's hopes up and to address a couple of rumors that are going around, like a Switch Mini or things like that. It would be nice to know some official news because it's definitely been a long time.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like this always happens to Nintendo on like big announcement days. Maybe not directs. Directs I feel are like those points where Nintendo is having a really good time. People are pretty hyped about whatever games they're coming with, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And after that, there's E3 and the, I guess, shareholders meeting that Nintendo has,
Right.
and maybe we should have talked about that for a little. It's fine. I'm gonna go way off topic, but so anyways, like during these shareholder events or E3, it's funny because we always seem to see like Nintendo's stock price take a hit
Yes.
during these times. Like it took a big hit after the shareholders meeting, and it was mostly because they have dropped their estimate of how many Nintendo Switch consoles they're going to sell by March.
Right.
And
Right.
so before, we all know their goal was 20 million, which everybody was like, that's pretty crazy. That's a
Yes.
big goal. And now they've dropped it down to 17 million. And honestly, I still think they're going to pass that. I always imagined they'd get somewhere to like 18
Mm-hmm.
million.
Mm-hmm.
There's still a lot of time, and I think they may have to sell about like another 3.5 million consoles to make it.
Right.
But I don't know, with a well-placed direct, especially one with a really great Animal Crossing trailer, I can see pre-orders going to, especially if they announced the Animal Crossing Nintendo Switch themed, I
Yes.
guess Nintendo Switch Animal Crossing themed console. I don't know how to say it. Um, but regardless, if they announce something like that, people are going to be going out and pre-ordering
Yes.
right away. Um, like that is the kind of announcement that a big part of their fandom is waiting for to really jump in and get the Switch. And so I don't know, I feel like if they did that in February, March, like they're gonna hit those sales goals
Right.
for sure.
Exactly.
So I don't know, that's my little tangent there. Essentially, they've taken a hit, and I feel like Animal Crossing could save them. Like Animal Crossing saves lives. That's all I'm saying. So back on track. I just told you about the gardening event and all those mechanics. There are two brand new mechanics that have been added to the game. I kind of listed these. Maybe I should start with the bottom one first. So, Pete is also in the game, and for a little fun
Oh.
thing, which I forgot about a long time ago, um, Pelly used to have like a big crush on Pete, and I think Pete had a crush on Phyllis. And so there
Yeah.
was like a little love triangle going with them. Um, and Phyllis, she doesn't care about
No.
anybody. She cares about hating her job and getting out of work. uh, so anyways, so Pete is now in the game, and he's got his own item delivery service. So on the map, there's a little section on kind of the middle right portion, and it's a little Pete on the map. And when you click on him, it'll show you all of the villagers at the different locations, and it'll show you what item they want. You can click on them, and then you can say, deliver this for me. And Pete, he does that instantly. Like, it's so
Oh.
fast. It's just like an instant delivery system. You don't have to be in the same location as a character. You can do it all from your campsite, from your camper even. You can just do that and right away get your items delivered and your rewards won. And this thing is great. It is really speeding up the process of playing the game. I think especially because right now I have like no steel whatsoever. Like my steel materials are completely depleted right now, and it's because I've been trying to invite the last villagers to my campsite, but the last one, I'm literally one away now, and
Oh
I
wow.
need 600 steel to complete his furniture.
Ooh.
It's and that's just two items. Two of them
Oh
take
wow.
300 steel. It's insane. uh, so, anyways, Pete makes it really quick because then I can just find the villager that gives me steel, and then I give them all of their stuff
Right.
really
Right.
quick, and then right away I have steel in my pocket. And this thing is fast. Like, you could do this faster. Like, say I'm at the island
Mhm.
little area with a villager doing I would still pick to do Pete's delivery service because he does it right away. Like, it would take longer to talk to that villager in that same
Wow.
location.
That's pretty fast.
Yeah, I just hope he's getting paid for this because he does amazing work and he deserves to be compensated very well. um, yeah, let me see if I wrote anything else about that. Oh, yeah, okay. The one caveat with this is that it is only fulfilling that experience points for delivering items. So, you deliver an item and then you gain experience points. Um, if you want to maximize the experience points you're getting for your villagers, you still have to go to that wherever they are, whatever campsite they are in,
Mhm.
and you still have to talk to them to get that one heart
Right.
or two hearts for, talking to them.
Right. Right. Mm.
Um, but you know what? I don't bother with it most of the time. I just deliver the items, and I've been leveling up so quickly, and this whole thing has turned into like people are now once again short on supplies constantly. My market box is always empty now
Oh wow.
because everybody's always buying things because I try to keep a good stock of things in my market
Right.
box. But yeah, overall it's like yeah, people are doing more of these tasks and finding themselves running out of, I guess, items now.
Yeah, but it sounds like both refinements that we've discussed so far, they sound really, really big improvements. I'm surprised and glad.
Yeah, it's been really good. It's really speeding up the process of playing the game,
Right.
which, like I said, like all of these things are like what I complained about in the past, where, a traditional Animal Crossing game, I pick it up for an hour and I'm good. Like, I'm happy with the playtime I had, and then I can play tomorrow. And this game for a long time was like, man, I'm picking it up, I'm playing for an hour, and then in 2 hours I'm going to do that once again.
Right.
Like, it's a pretty demanding way to play a game that is traditionally really relaxing.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I don't know. But that's not all. There are more things that have come. I realized I didn't write this one down, but it's kind of a big one too. They've added new fruit to the game. And the
Oh.
fruit are lemons, lychee, and grapes. And the grapes grow on trees, but that's inaccurate. Grapes don't actually grow on trees. They grow on vines. But maybe Jackie was like, oh, well, maybe there's like vines growing up the
Right.
trees. And that's how they do it. And that's acceptable just because I like that visual. I think it's probably cute. Um, but yeah, so these all everybody gets one of these new fruits. So of the 3 fruit, I got lemons, which, bummer, I wanted grapes.
Right, right.
I want a grape tree, of course. Regardless, I can't complain. The lemons are fine. And all of these also can be perfect fruit, which is very unique.
Ooh.
Because, one, okay, I didn't even mention, like, grapes, we've never seen grapes in Animal Crossing
Right,
before.
right.
That's a big deal. That's a brand new fruit to the game. And it's one that I've been wanting since they, like, told us we were going to get, like, bushes and stuff. I was
Yes.
like, man, I want berries. I want to be able to grow vines and stuff. I want different types of fruit that I can sell at my shop. So, yeah, overall, it's cool to see, like, a brand new fruit in the game. Second, all 3 of these have perfect versions of them. So in the past, we've gotten perfect apples, perfect oranges, perfect pears, peaches, and what's the last one? What am I missing?
Cherries.
Cherries. Okay. Yeah, so cherries, all of those. But now we've got perfect lemons, perfect lychee, and perfect grapes.
Ooh.
So yeah, we've got new, like, perfect variations, and now I'm just like, wow, I hope in my new game that I can grow more than one type of perfect fruit. Like,
Right.
maybe one of those, like, island fruits is, I can make, like, perfect trees out of them, you know?
Right, right, exactly.
And maybe that takes, like, some experimentation as well, you know? Where, for example, you get the fruit gradually over time, and then you're like, oh, you know what? Let me put some fertilizer next to all of these and see if they turn into a perfect tree. And then you essentially, like, have to discover which one of your tropical fruits is the perfect
Oh, right,
type.
right,
You know?
exactly.
Anyways, that was just my idea with that.
And
Regardless, or
do,
what were you gonna say?
do you know where the new tree is, in what area?
Okay, so there are 2 of them. There's one by the river. So you know the river has those 2 extra fruit trees.
Yes.
One of the regular trees in that area has turned into your new local produce. That's what they're
Nice.
calling it, local fruit tree.
Oh.
And then their other is in the same spot with all the rest of the fruit trees.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so that area now has 6 fruit trees and only 1 regular tree.
Oh, okay.
Whereas before it had the 5 fruit trees and 2 regular trees.
Right.
Just one of them, the one on the left. Actually, I wonder if people got the same one turned into, I guess, the local produce. I'm gonna look into that. I'm gonna ask people on our Discord and everything and see if they have gotten the same tree as me to be changed.
Right, right.
'Cause it'd be kind of fun if it were random too, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, you can collect these, you can sell them in your market box, and essentially the foreign fruit are, I guess, on par with the perfect fruit. So if you buy somebody's fruit, like I don't have grapes, for example,
Right.
or lychee, so I can buy grapes and lychee, and when I give them to my villagers as items, they give me the better rewards as if I've given them a perfect fruit.
Right, right.
Which is awesome. It's pretty cool to have that feature. Because it also makes it... what were you going to say?
I'm wondering if since, you don't have 2 of those, and there's also the perfect variations, have you found yourself having villagers asking for them, and when you don't have them, is it too limited?
I don't think they ask for them. I have not found them. I don't think they've asked for them. The only time I give them to them is when they let me choose what kind of fruit to give them.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, outside of that, I'm not sure. I don't think I've seen them actually ask for anything that I just can't obtain in there.
Right.
Which that would be difficult, you know, because then you have to look through people's market boxes. Did I mention, could you do this before this update? But you can buy things from their market box, like, without visiting them, like, just
Yes.
straight from your friend list.
Yes, I remember that. That was good.
Okay. Well, it still seems really easy and it's great and I love it. um, but yeah, I think I was gonna say something about the fruit trees, but I don't remember. Um, yeah, I don't know. They're great. I think it's cool to have a brand new fruit added to just like Animal Crossing in general, but it's also cool to see them in Pocket Camp.
Yes.
Okay, so the last thing that I've got to talk about is probably the biggest thing, and also probably the mechanic that's most aimed toward like people who have been playing this game for a very long time. And they have tons and tons of things, tons of bells, tons of items. And that is Blathers Treasure Trek goals. So they just added a new item in the game, and they are maps. And when you open up a map, you can roll a dice and try to get to the end of it. It's kind of like a little board game thing.
Hmm.
And when you, I guess, roll the dice, it costs something. For example, it can cost bells, it can cost friend powder, it can cost essences. Regardless, you have to pay some amount to roll the dice. And so there's a bit of a chance element to it, and the dice is just like a regular one. It's 1 through 6. But there are different spaces that you can land on. Some of them will let you move an extra space. Others will be an extra item on your way there. Others will make you lose a space, which is a real bummer. But once you've landed on them, like, they disappear. So if you land on that lose... I've seen one that's like lose 3 spaces, and I was like, oh no, I don't want to land on that. But if you did, it would disappear after that. So that risk would be gone.
Right.
But anyways, the goal is to get to the end of the map and win a major reward. And these rewards can be bells, it could be crafting materials, and it can be leaf tickets. So for the first time, we can use kind of our in-game currency to get leaf tickets.
Oh, that's true.
So typically, you have to buy leaf tickets or earn them through different goals. But now, you have leaf ticket maps, and it costs quite a bit to roll the dice. So the reward is 10 leaf tickets, at least for the ones that I've seen. And it costs 30,000 bells for each roll.
Oh, wow.
Which is pretty expensive, but... like I said, these goals are really targeted at people who have been playing the game for a long, long time. So, to give you an example, we have players who have reached that, like, 999 million bell limit, or whatever it is. It's something crazy like that. But they've reached that limit, and whenever they spend money on things, like, the game keeps track of how much money they have beyond that. So,
that's good. That's good.
So yeah, some people are like well above that, and they spend money, and they don't see their money drop at all.
Right.
So yeah, so some people may have tons and tons of bells that they can use to get extra leaf tickets at this point, which is crazy. Like it's really expensive, but it is a really cool option now that we have to get leaf tickets.
That's cool. Also, the friend powder, because we talked about the gardening events, how many there's been, and that's a big reward when you're sharing bucks with everyone. You get a lot of friend powder, and it wasn't used so much before. This is a great use for them.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty crazy to see all the different things that you can get. And like I said, everything's got a different price, and I'd say the most expensive is the ones that cost essences. And there's specific maps that cost essences, and those are character maps, because instead of just getting this new round of characters, we now have to earn the characters. So you remember back in the day when Gulliver was added to the game?
Yes.
Well, Gulliver is now important again because people have to give Gulliver items in order to earn all of these character maps. And then once we have the character map, we have to spend essences to roll the die, and I think it's expensive. It's like 10 essences per die roll.
Mm.
And the thing that's really weird about it to me is that it costs like 5 leaf tickets to just go through the map, don't even bother about rolling for it, and you just get the character after that.
Right.
5 leaf tickets is a lot cheaper than essences are, because this is the game that charges like 20 leaf tickets for 1 essence.
Yes.
So 5 is, that's only a quarter of that price for who knows how many rolls.
Right.
But 10 essences would be like 200 leaf tickets. So I feel like it's definitely more worth it to just pay the leaf tickets to get those characters.
Yeah, that's true. Unless you have a lot of excess essence. But even then, right.
Yeah, and that's like I keep saying, like it's really for those people who've been playing literally every day as many rounds of as many of the cycles as possible, because they are, I'm sure, are full of essences.
Right.
Regardless, it's pretty difficult to get all of these characters now. Because it's not only just getting through the maps, it's like getting the maps themselves. Like you have to give out Gulliver items, you have to craft all of these extra items, and then you have to give them to Gulliver, and then you have to wait the 6 hours it takes for him to go to a place and come back.
Right.
And so it's like, it's a pretty time consuming thing. And I don't know, part of me is like, I can see how convoluted it is, but at the same time, it just gives everybody who's like at that end game so much more to do. There's so much to work toward at this point with these maps.
Right. Do you know how many of these characters are locked with these maps now?
Yeah. So there are. We get 1 for free. And then
cool.
I think there are a total of 10, so 9 of them are locked.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah.
I know. I was expecting like, I don't know, 3 to 5.
Right.
But it's 9. That is so many. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's too many to introduce that way in one style, but maybe they just don't plan on, I guess, doing that every single time. Because it's been a long time since they introduced Gulliver, and a lot of people had the 3 characters from Gulliver for a long time, And so this is the first time Gulliver is becoming relevant again.
Right.
Yeah, so anyways, that is all of the Pocket Camp stuff. Last time they updated the game, maybe it was like a couple months ago, maybe 3 months ago. But last time they did, they said it would really change the way the game is played and the scope of the game. But this update feels way more like it did that.
Right.
Yeah, they just added so many things all at once that were unexpected and pretty huge,
Yeah, they definitely sound like game changers for the better. Like everything sounds much faster and improved. I'm gonna come back to the game when Hazel is around, and now I'm curious if she's gonna be added normally or if she's gonna be locked behind one of these special maps. Either way, I'm looking forward to it. It would be nice to try out these new features, these new maps.
Yeah, and thanks for saying that, because I was about to ask you, like, is this enough to get you back to the game? Or are you just going to hold off for now?
I'm gonna hold off Hazel for sure. I'm coming back for her, or again anything special having to do with KK, which it's been a while, so hopefully there's something new.
Yeah, there could be something any minute. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to our next topic. And I think I've been having a lot of fun talking about features that I want to see in Animal Crossing Switch. So anybody who's like been keeping up with my YouTube, that's kind of been the last 3 weeks of my channel. And I am going to change it up soon. But I did want you to get a chance to give us your impressions of what you want with Animal Crossing Switch. So This segment is what Sergio wants in Animal Crossing Switch. So yeah, let us know.
Yeah, I've been watching all the videos, and pretty much I cannot think back of any feature that was mentioned that I didn't want. I want all of them. I want basically they're all really good, and there's so many more. And big fans of the series, we have this humongous list of things that we want. So it's very tough to like single things out. But I kind of went with the ones that came to my mind first. And one of the first, for sure, is that I want at the very least, 15 villagers in your town. The more the merrier. 20 would be great, but 15 would be nice too. Just anything more than 10, it's a great start, I think. We had 10 in New Leaf and we played that game so much. I think just having more is good. Do you think 20 might be too many or not?
Um, I don't know. I guess I'm trying to think of how I would feel with that many. I think so. Just as a recap, the first game we get 15.
Yes.
Wild World is 8, and then City Folk and New Leaf are both 10.
Mhm.
Um, and I don't know. I felt like 15 was a fun number. I think I was happy with that. But 20, I think it's possible. If the map is big, like, I'm going to want to see villagers all over my place.
Yes.
um, so, yeah. And, they could always just lift the limit and say, so
Oh,
imagine, like, Animal Crossing villagers move in, but it's dependent on if you place, like, a public works project. And if you just make all of your public works projects, I can't say it right now. If you just make all of those like new villager homes, like maybe you can just get as many as you like.
yeah, now you're in control. That's awesome.
Yeah, you control how many animals are in this town, and it's not big enough for the two of us. But yeah, I
Nice.
don't know. I think for me, 15, it sounds good. It sounds like a good
Yeah,
number.
yeah, yeah. That's true. Now, I also want more special stores. Anything that they can imagine. I'm open to anything. The special characters should all have a special store, and it shouldn't be part of another store like Poor Leaf. He should have his own place again. Everyone should. And definitely a big part of that is that I want them to have days off so that you can interact with the special characters in a more natural way. You don't always want to see Tom Nook just in business mode. You should be able to see him getting a coffee or just in his house. And speaking of that, so I want to see them living in their own dedicated space. Ideally, I would want them to be in the same town, in the houses in town, but that might be too many because there's so many special characters, and I don't think they could have one house for each. So maybe I was thinking maybe an apartment complex that it's only for the special characters, but I would want the I would want an explanation that makes sense as to why only the special characters can be in those apartments. Uh, and I'm thinking that Isabel would be perfect to come up with a good reason for that. I know I can trust her on that.
There's a lot here. I like Leaf's gardening shop, which I pointed this out while I was live streaming the other day, but it does not have a name.
Right.
But I still really liked it when when he had his own space, like his
Right.
own little shop it felt like it was a gardening store.
Yes.
So I would want him to definitely like have that and still keep that and not like blend them too much. And then I guess I really like your idea of like them like living in an apartment complex or something, like an apartment building,
Mhm.
and maybe it's just in that like main street or whatever the main portion of town, and maybe they don't even go back to that. Like they just integrate all the different shops on your actual map again. That might be
Ooh.
another discussion. But anyways, I would like to see them just how they live. Like I want to go over to Isabel's place and see how she decorates, and we got like a little taste of those types of things with their campers, but
Yes.
I think it'd
Exactly.
be even cooler to just see them have their own room and own house to decorate, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. That'd be really cool. But if they decide to stick with like a separate town portion in a city, maybe that's how they could explain it. Well, I'm Tom Nook. I work here at the city, so I want to live in the apartment complex that's sort of closer to the city, and that's why all the special characters live there. I'm good with that explanation. That would make sense. But I would definitely prefer for all the special characters to live in town like everyone else.
Yeah, it would be really cool. I wonder how they would make it work because there are a lot of special characters. And
Yes.
that's why I kind of like lean toward that like apartment building because it just like it puts it into one space, but they all still get their own separate room.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And they're close to where they work, so it makes sense why they would all live there.
Yeah, definitely.
So another thing I want to see, and this is a big one, but it could go many different ways. There's a lot of requests for a cooking system, and I do want something like that, or anything related to cooking. It doesn't have to be too much too sophisticated. It could, you know, maybe even some people would want like a hunger meter. I think that's a little too much, but it's open to anything. I just want to be able to cook something. I think it would be best if it's not mandatory or not required to do so. It's completely optional. But I would definitely do it to cook something for a villager that's coming over to visit. And basically now you are actually specifically inviting them over for dinner and they're gonna try it out. Or you could just cook something and take it to someone for them to try it at their place. I would like it to include baking too, so you can bake a cake and take it over. It would be cool also for birthday parties. So I want something, I would prefer it simple, but even if it's more sophisticated, I just want a cooking system introduced.
Yeah, it's funny because I kind of read all the comments that come in on this one, and it's crazy. But there are a lot. People are torn on this. There are a lot of people who want cooking, a lot of people who do not want cooking,
Right, right.
and some people go as far as to say like, no, that's not Animal Crossing. It should not be in that game at all. It would not feel like a game, Animal Crossing game, and
Right, right.
I don't know. I'm not convinced that it would be that atrocious thing. um, but I don't know. I think I lean more for it just because I do really like those. For example, Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday to celebrate in that game, and you collect all
Yes.
of the cool little things, and you got like the flour and the oil and all of these cool little cooking items that you don't usually get in the game.
Mhm.
And I don't know, it's really cool to get those and then be able to put them in your home, and like in a kitchen you designed or something. And so yeah, I don't know. I think it's cool. I like this idea of having it be some activity that you do with the villagers. Um, but I think I want to say it was Blaze who we had on this show a long time
Yes.
ago at this point, but he kind of mentioned like it'd be cool if you got like if you used cooking to help you just do things better in the game.
Right,
Like
right.
maybe
Hmm.
you run faster, and I would say like run faster but as light as a feather so you don't cause like tear on your
Right.
floor because I think a lot of people don't want that, you know?
Yes, right.
Um, so that would be a cool like ability to gain for the day if you eat this meal.
Right, right.
um, so yeah, it'd be cool. Or maybe you can increase your luck with a meal,
Yes.
and then all of a sudden, when you shake a tree, instead of 100 bells, you're getting 200. Or you're just doubling the amount of money you earn because you're having a lucky day. And maybe that's too easy for people because they can just take advantage of that. um, and just get tons of bells really quickly. And so maybe they don't want that, but I don't know. I think like there are some cool things that you can do with cooking, and overall, I just want the items. I want the items to put in my house, and like maybe you can put shelves in your house and you can decorate
Yes.
things on top of that, and it'd be cool. I think it'd just be nice. And I want to grow more things. Like we already grow fruit trees. I think the other thing I saw is people really didn't want farming. And
Hmm.
and most of their fear lies in they don't want another farming sim because
Right.
they've already got
Right.
Stardew Valley, and you don't need anything after you got Stardew Valley. Um, that's an unfortunate way to look at it because a lot of games do things differently, which can be enjoyable to experience. But regardless,
Right.
they're happy with that, and they don't want Animal Crossing to be that, you know? Um, but I'm like, I don't know. Like, a lot of people spend a lot of time making an orchard, and that's kind of gardening
Yes,
and farming.
exactly.
I know that was my main source of income in Wild World. I would just plant my trees every 3 days. I would get tons of money because
Right.
I had tons and tons of fruit trees. You know.
Right. Right. I think a lot of us start that way. It's yeah, it's definitely the simple way to start making money.
Yeah, and so I don't know. I When I saw we were getting bushes, the first thing I was thinking was, I wonder if these are going to be fruit bushes. Like, are we going to get like berries and things that we can pick from these? And so yeah, I just don't mind. I would not mind planting things and getting more stuff that we can sell and I don't know cook with if that's an option.
Right.
Um, yeah, overall, I don't think it would ruin the Animal Crossing experience. Nintendo would do it in a Nintendo type of way that makes sense to the game.
Yeah, yeah, I think for that to work, it would have to be, it wouldn't be time consuming, so you should be able to do it quickly, and you should be able, the the farming produce that you do shouldn't either die or decay if you neglect it. I think if that's the case, then I'm all for it. It's completely optional and it's there and it works. I'm for it.
Yeah, me too.
Another feature that I want is improved online connectivity, and by that I mean a more stable connection, less crashing. Because let's face it, I'm pretty sure it's happened to everyone that we're playing New Leaf and then something happens. Nobody loses anything really, but nobody gains anything either. Basically, it's like nothing happened. And I want to be able to have a better connection, basically, so that there's no worry of anything happening, and we know that whatever's going on is going to get saved and everything is going to be fine. Only because there's so many people on our Discord and that we're going to be playing with online. So the less worries, I think, would be the better.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, like you said, we've run into that situation where it crashes and then Rossetti pops up on the screen and says
Right.
connection error. And yeah, it's unfortunate. I'm one of those crazies who played a game competitively and adopted the LAN adapter connection really like right at the beginning of the
Yes.
Switch's lifespan. So I have always been like wired in, so my internet is pretty solid for the most part. I still somehow run into issues where I get disconnected, but
Right.
it's far less than before. So yeah, I think a lot of people like don't really want to spend extra money for, a LAN adapter, an Ethernet cable, and then figuring out how to get that Ethernet cable from your router all the way to your TV without it being
Right.
in the way. um, I'm still kind of working on that. I did not get mine. I have it kind of along the wall now, but I did not use my little nails to get it in there
Right.
yet.
Right. Hmm.
Um, but eventually, it's gonna be set up perfectly, and I'm gonna love it.
Nice. Yeah. If the people listening can make it work, it's definitely an improvement, and it's not only for when you're playing online, but it also gives you faster downloads for games. So yeah, if you can make it work, we definitely recommend it. And for the better online connection, I just want it to be faster also because it's a little bit slow in New Leaf. It's a lot faster than in Wild World and City Folk, but if they can make it even faster, I'm all for that.
Yeah, and it's funny because you see that like lag where you hit your shovel and then you're doing all these
Yes.
spin tricks before you actually shovel a hole. It's kind of funny to see.
Nice. So, moving on the list, I also want more clothing and clothing related accessories. So, we can customize shirts, but I also want to be able to customize pants, shorts, shoes, and socks. Anything should be customizable, basically. As far as new clothing accessories, I want, wristbands, watches, scarves, necklaces, and of course, the big one is backpacks and briefcases and tote bags that could actually add storage space for you. And You can switch it up and have different ones for different occasions, basically.
Yeah, you can switch it up. Yeah, no, I love all of these things. I totally mentioned in mine that we need to be able to make all of the different types of clothing. I want to make my own pants. I want to make my own, um, I don't know, all sorts of things.
Yeah.
Hats, accessories. It would just be cool
Oh,
to be able
yes.
to do that. And like I hope we get backpacks and other types of bags and stuff that just increases how many things we can carry. But if we can customize those on top of that, like get stickers or badges and stuff that we can put on
Oh,
those, we got badges in New Leaf for completing cool tasks from Phineas. Like, what if we could put those badges on our backpack?
yeah,
I
for
would love
sure.
that because then you can show that off in some way, you know?
Right.
Um, yeah, I'm for it. I want it.
And then just adding to this. So let's say, you have a shirt that it's pre-made in the game and you like it a lot, but you wish it was a different color, ever so slightly a different color. Maybe Cyrus could help with that. Maybe every clothing, accessory, hat, anything, you could change the main color if you talk to Cyrus and give him a fruit or.
Yeah, that's true. That would be cool. That just gives you more ways to customize. I love what Cyrus does with the furniture. I love that what he's added to the game, and yeah, I like it a lot.
Nice, hopefully. So I also want to see easy and fast sharing of your content. Basically, we should be able to take screenshots. I'm assuming that's going to return from New Leaf. I'm assuming also that we're going to be able to record video of the game like we do in most Switch games. You're able to take a 30-second video clip. I would love it if we could share those on Facebook or on Twitter directly from the game. I know New Leaf did something like that, but you had to go into the Miiverse. And the Switch is not too difficult. You can go into your album and post it right away from there. But if they can figure out a way for the new Animal Crossing Switch to be able to do it directly from the game, so you wouldn't have to go into a separate menu, oh, that would be so cool. And if they let you put your text in there and then just send it out to social media, that would be so cool.
Yeah, and thinking about that, in after a while, I think in Welcome Amiibo, like you can share things directly from the game.
Oh,
And so it's not like you have to go to that like image app anymore. Like you
right.
can just hit a share button that's on the I think the bottom right of the touch screen, and then from there you can just share the image.
Oh, awesome.
So I think I also want them to make that possible. Like you can just do it from in game really quickly.
Right.
Even though like it's still kind of fast to just hit that home button and then go to the image thing.
Right.
But it takes out steps, you know. It makes it quicker.
Right, right. So the quicker the better, but it's fine as long as we have it. It would be just nice to have screenshots, videos, and be able to share them. I'm good with that. And
Yeah.
the last item on my list, this one is very important to me. I hope it really happens. So I want pretty much every event in the game to be not just one day. I want everything to be a long event. Weekly would be nice. Monthly sometimes for very, very special events. But what I mean is everything, like even the fishing and the bug catching tournaments, it would be nice to have weekly variations on that, not just, the daily ones. It would make it so that it's easier for people to participate. Like, let's say you want to play the fishing tournament, but you're going to be very busy that Saturday, then you're out of luck. I think it should be able to be at least maybe 3 days, maybe the whole weekend, or the whole week. The more options, the better.
I I agree. I think Pocket Camp is doing this, and it's just a mobile game. But like when I play an event, I know that I'm spending like a good week on it, you know.
Yes.
And then it's over, and I go back to like the regular life. But I
Right.
do think that we just need those events to feel special, to feel exciting, to feel like, wow, that I feel like I accomplished something while playing this game, you know.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm for it. I'm loving everything that you're bringing up, and this one is really good just because like you don't have the same time to play every single day. Maybe right now with the current games, the events fall on one day. Sometimes you just like don't have the time to play that day.
Right, right.
And like having it stretch it out across a week, that gives you a little bit of extra time to do some of these goals and accomplish it, you know? Um, so, yeah, I think that would be helpful because we talked about last week being like adults playing the game. And so we have parts of our schedule that we're just busy. We have things to do. We have
Right.
responsibilities that we have to take care of, and we don't have all the time to do that event in, the 2 hours that we have at the end of the day.
Right.
um, if we have 2 hours at the end of the day, maybe that's not enough time. So it would be helpful for us to just be able to log in throughout the week and be able to accomplish the goals in the event.
Right, because I know it's happened to you and probably to a lot of listeners. Sometimes you have limited time and you're either rushing or you end up looking online to see what's the quickest way to do an event the best way possible. Or if you miss it completely, you feel really bad because it wasn't really up to you, you know. You wish the game was a little more forgiving in terms of timing. That's why I want to see these events to have at least 3 days, maybe the whole week. The more options, the better.
Yeah, and I know for a fact that that's going to be the biggest reason that I'm going to want to time travel. Like, if I ever miss an event
Right,
or miss
right.
something special, I'm just going to be like, oh my goodness, I want to reset my clock and do that now. Of course, I'll have to be patient, wait a whole year, an entire year, to have my chance to do that. It's crazy. So yeah, I don't know. I think it would just like keep us from making bad decisions. Not that
Right.
time traveling is bad. You all are fine if you do it. I'm just, Sergio and I, we're not doing it. We're not time traveling. And so this is the struggle that we've given ourselves.
Right. So
Um,
yeah, the longer events would help with that for sure.
yeah. Anyways, I love all of these things that you said, and I just agree. I agree. I can't, I'm not against them. I've tried to look at the way other people are seeing them, especially things with like the cooking system and farming. And I don't know. I guess my preferences are just like Nintendo would do it right. They would pull it off.
Yes.
I think it would be a mechanic that people would enjoy, and I don't think we have to be worried.
Right, right, definitely.
All right, so let's get into our Haken's Villager Corner. For those of you who are new or don't know, this is where I ask a question to our Patreon patrons, and they give us their answers. So this week's question is there anything that worries you about Animal Crossing Switch? And I didn't really get specific with this question. I just thought, you know what? Let's just get it out there. Let's see what people are worried about when it comes to this game. So Sergio, do you have any worries?
My biggest worry is that it might not have new things, new enough, and they might feel like a new Leaf 1.5, 1.8. I really want a ton of new features, and I want it to feel really different from the first time they show it. That's a worry. I don't know how much of it is, but yeah, if anything, it's that one.
Yeah, it's tough because I feel the same. I really want to play a new game. And I say that because New Leaf is old Leaf for me at this point.
Yes.
I've played it so much, and and that's not even counting like the time I've spent now just recording things on your 3DS.
Oh, true.
Like I don't even know how much time I've spent on that. Like on my 3DS alone, it's like over 1,000 hours. So
Right.
yeah, I'm estimating like 1,200, but I haven't looked in a long time. But yeah, anyways, I think my worry is just that it's gonna not come out this year.
Ooh, that's a
And
big one.
I think it will, but I just always worry about that. You know what? My bigger worry is that we're just never gonna see a trailer for this game. Where is our trailer? I want to know what it looks like. Yeah, so and maybe that's just an impatient worry.
Right.
We're gonna see it. We're gonna see a trailer. Of course, we are. I'm sure we're gonna get like a dedicated direct for it. Um, but that's just what one of my worries is. Um, all right, so let's go into what our patrons have said, and we'll just go back and forth. And I will start with, I hope this is correct. We've talked a little bit. Lyalatron. That's
Mhm.
what that's what I think
I
it
agree.
is. Lyalatron. All right, so they say, my only worry for the game is that Nintendo may possibly add microtransactions to the game, a la Pocket Camp. I had another thought though. Might they try to might they try and complicate the mechanics of the game, thus taking away some of the relaxed nature? I love the simple fishing and bug catching, etc. If they make it more complicated, it could not, or could it not become more frustrating at the same time? I think those are fair worries. I think the microtransactions is a good point.
Yes. Mhm.
A lot of people have been very afraid of that since Pocket Camp has come out and introduced microtransactions to the Animal Crossing world. But I will say, I think I read MediGeek, maybe wrote this on Twitter or something, but microtransactions, their reason for them not making sense was that this is a game where you can just give people items for free. And if you like use microtransactions and get an item, like somebody could just give that to you.
Oh,
And
sure. Hmm.
yeah, that's just kind of a way that it wouldn't make sense for Animal Crossing.
Right. Right.
um, so I don't know. I think it's a good worry though. I guess we'll have to wait and see what they're thinking on that front. But
Yeah.
personally, I hope they don't do it. It's just not friendly for most people. I think it's really a system that's targeted at people who are really down to spend a lot of money.
Right. Right. And I think it just works a lot better, just exclusively for mobile. And I do think it will stick just to Pocket Cam. And here's hoping.
Yeah, because we're already going to buy like 2 copies each, so
Right.
that's more money than we've spent. Well, I don't know. Maybe you've spent more money than that on Pocket Camp back in
Oh,
the
don't
early
remind me.
days.
So true. The next answer is by Brett Sullivan.
Or Sully.
Ooh, okay. Yeah. And the answer is, I'm worried I might not survive the long wait. In all seriousness, I'm somewhat afraid it will either be too similar or too different than previous games. They have mastered a formula that works, and I'm curious as to how they'll handle better technology. There it is. There's this slight worry that it might just be too similar, not new enough.
Yeah, and I think I'd be bummed. It'd be like the Wild World to City Folk type of change, where I like City Folk more overall, of course, but
Hmm.
it was pretty much that same skeleton structure of Wild World. So I definitely see why that's a worry.
Right, right. And then on the other hand, if it's too different, and I think that's why it took me pretty much this long to start appreciating Breath of the Wild because it was so different from traditional Zeldas. It was, I played it a lot when it came out, but it definitely was too big and too different. It's a shocker. And I would prefer if Animal Crossing doesn't have that much of a shocker. Uh, you know, it's about finding the right balance between new and old.
Yeah, that's true, because there's a lot of great things that already work in the game, so they don't have to change it dramatically to keep
Right.
it working. So Emily with one Y and a cookie says, my only worry is if it's going to have Pocket Camp connectivity and how they will pull that off. I'm also worried about how much time I'm going to put into the game in the first week. That's a good point. You're going to be playing nonstop that first week. I remember I was on the Animal Crossing diet where it was like, oh, I'm hungry. I'm playing Animal Crossing. I'll eat an apple in the game. I don't
Right.
know. um, but
Nice.
yeah, I don't know how they're gonna connect Pocket Camp. I mean, the connection with
Mm.
Wild, or I guess Animal Crossing New Leaf, Welcome Amiibo, and Happy Home Designer was pretty minimal. You just like got the big special items from Happy Home Designer, and then there wasn't much beyond that.
Right. Yeah, that's a big concern. That could go either way at this point, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So the next answer is by Cake, and the answer is my big worry is that people will get too excited for features they want and will feel the game isn't good because the things they wanted didn't show up. There's also the worry that people won't want to pay for online, and many friends won't play together because of it. That's true. We have so many lists of wishes that we want in the game, and we deep down we know that we're not getting everything we want. And I guess it depends on how we handle that. I think it's good to trust Nintendo that whatever they add, it's gonna be good.
Yeah, and I do like their concern about the online service because this is like there are a lot of kids who play and get into Animal Crossing, and them playing online is really dependent on whatever their parents say,
Yes, right, right.
So if they don't purchase online, they're just not going to be able to do it at all. So, I
Hmm.
don't know. I think it's a good thing to worry about, especially for the younger crowd, the younger audience. But hopefully, I mean, the family plan, like just finding one other friend, it will already reduce the price of the online
Right, right,
if you go with the family plan. So it's not it's not incredibly bad, but it is like a little barrier for people.
right. Hmm.
So Dragonflame323 says, I severely doubt this, but if they made the game in any sense as demanding as Pocket Camp, whether that be in the form of microtransactions or limited time events where if you miss out, you're basically out of luck, or actually even the fortune cookie gotcha elements that leave a bad taste in my mouth personally. I just want to have that pure, wholesome Animal Crossing experience, and I'm worried that some of the gamey smartphone elements of Pocket Camp might bleed over into the new game. So yeah, some more worries about like how Pocket Camp could change the landscape of Animal Crossing, and
Right,
it's really hard to tell because we haven't seen a trailer at all. We just don't know where this game is going or where it is at this point.
right, right. And we can always say that Nintendo's mobile games so far haven't really changed their console games, their traditional market games. I guess the biggest exception would be Pokemon Let's Go with having the mechanics of Pokemon Go. But that, while that is a fact, we don't know how Animal Crossing is gonna be, so it's just something to think about for sure.
Yeah.
The next answer is by Grace or a penguin named Abraham. And the answer is this is probably just the same thing everyone else is saying, but I'm a bit worried that the game will be too connected to Pocket Camp. I also hope they keep most of the new stuff a secret or only show us in the trailer. I really don't want to play with any of it in Pocket Camp first, since I think that would just weaken its impact in the new game.
There we go. More more worries about Pocket Camp.
Right.
um, Seems like a lot of people are really, and I don't know. I guess it's just because this is the most recent iteration of Animal Crossing that we've gotten, and I think a lot of people are just concerned because it is a mobile game. It is adopting that gotcha system type of gameplay. So I
Right.
don't know. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, and definitely I agree with Grace that we don't want to see the trailer just having things that are in Pocket Camp and sort of say they're new because we know they're from Pocket Camp. We want brand new items, mechanics, events, etc. We're hoping for that.
Yeah. So Tab says, I'm worried that it will be delayed. Other than that, I'm worried the game will change too much and not have the charm and that laid back feel that we're hoping for. I also worry that it won't have couch co-op. I want to be able to play with other family members on the same Switch. And all
Oh,
right, I like that they are worried about the delay as well.
right.
Well, I say worried about the delay. It doesn't exist. It's not getting delayed, everyone. It's 2019. Fingers animal crossed. Um, but yeah, also another person worrying about it changing too much.
Yes,
And
right.
I think that's a good concern. And then the couch co-op is cool. I don't know. I feel like this is the game that is on a system that really sets it up to finally have that couch co-op experience that we've never had on Animal Crossing before.
Right, right.
So I think it would be really cool to see that happen. I think it would be a big moment in the trailer for them to show us that as well.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. If that's a new feature in the game, I think they have to show it as soon as they can. That's true. The next answer is by Cesar, one of our newest patrons, and he says a botched development process and a delayed release. It's true. There we go again with the potential delay. It's definitely a worry, especially after what happened to Metro Prime 4. You never really know. But then again, they did say 2019, so we have at least that little bit of hope. And as far as a botched development process, it could happen. It doesn't happen too often with Nintendo. I think they would prefer to delay a game, but you never really know.
Yeah, and that reminds me, I just read an article, and it was somebody from Nintendo answering a question about delays in general. And they
Mhm.
essentially just assured everybody that they are good at what they do. They have been in this business for a long time, and it's very rare that their games get delayed. Um, so, yeah, I mean, I think they're confident that the games that they have planned for 2019 are going to be coming out this year.
Yeah, and I think it's safe to say they have a good track record on that.
Yeah. So Zekin says, this is probably not going to happen, but I'm worried that it'll be another City Folk. As much as I love City Folk, it's not a huge step up from Wild World. Also, I'm kind of worried that I'll have to grind for money on the island for public works projects or something again.
Hmm.
So yeah, they share your kind of worry about it not being upgraded enough. But I like this new worry about having to grind for money on the island. I guess my thought is like, I mean, we're gonna have to grind for money somehow.
Right.
I don't know how that'll be, but it is a time-consuming way to grind because you have to go to the island, listen to that song or skip that song,
Right.
and then you catch all these things, put them in the box, and then you go back to your main place, and then from there you go back and forth from that box to the store, and yeah, it just takes a long time.
Right, right.
So maybe there will be a quicker way to do that.
Right, right. Hopefully. Next answer is by Grizzly Nina. And she says, I'm worried about keeping up with everyone. I feel like I'm a very slow paced gamer and I'm hoping there's not too many spoilers. That's a big one. Yeah, it makes you think, you want the game, you want to be playing, but you don't want to spoil everything that it's coming later. Like we said, there's gonna be people that play more than most of us that work, and this is a very valid worry, I would say.
Yeah, and I have that same worry, especially like when I'm doing like a live stream or something, and there are people who want to be helpful and say, "Oh, let me give you some tips on this," or "This is how you do that," and
Right.
I'm gonna try to ignore those comments when I see them come in because I wanna experience a lot of it on my own.
Yes, definitely.
So Arden and Herman say, we are worried for lack of Pocket Camp connectivity and the release date being later than summer. So it sounds like they want Pocket Camp to be connected with
Right.
this game, which is new for some people,
Right.
at least from the last ones. And yeah, I guess I really wonder how they're going to do it, if they do it.
Mhm, mhm.
um, and yeah, another worry about the release date. Always got to worry about that.
Right, right. So it sounds like, yeah, and it's gonna be very difficult for Nintendo because there are people out there like Arden and Herman that want some type of connection. So it's gonna be the challenge is gonna be finding the right balance.
Yeah, definitely.
The next answer is by Cyborg Zero, and he says, I worry that since it is Nintendo, they always like to change things up and they revoke my major's title for something else. So, Joe, Cyber Zero, he wants to stay major. And yeah, I agree with that. It would be nice to add to that, but not to change it too much.
Yeah, I think we're still going to need whatever method we need to be able to place public works projects and that sort of thing. I think at this point, that's something they can't get rid of. It's just like how whatever form that takes, I still want to be able to decorate our exteriors of our town.
Yes, definitely.
So Sarah says it's hard to come up with things I'm worried about because I do have a lot of faith in Nintendo when it comes to Animal Crossing. I guess I'm worried that Pocket Camp won't be as connected to the game as I personally would like it to be. So, another fan of, I guess, Pocket Camp and wanting it
Right.
to be connected. And I think there are ways that you can do it cool, and hopefully they just pull it off, you know?
Yeah, and then it could be either a one-time connection that you transfer whatever you have, or it could be ongoing. So even there, there's so many different ways they could integrate it. It's gonna be interesting. The next answer is by Jam, and the answer is I'm worried about Nintendo adding microtransactions and friendship levels. I don't want to have to pay in advance in the game instead of taking my time and make the effort. I think that friendship level system takes away from actually seeing villagers as natural friends. I like not knowing how close I am to a villager until until they turn up to my house suddenly or send me gifts in the post or gives me their picture. That's a good point. And I take this, this hits me personally because I wanted the friendship level to transfer over, but these points by Jam are really good. It makes me question what I wanted.
Yeah, I don't know. That does bring a lot of questions into it.
Right,
So yeah, I definitely want it to still feel natural building those relationships.
right.
So yeah, it's tough to find the right balance for that. And I don't know. I'm sure they've worked with it and found what would work.
Right.
But it would make sense for them to kind of ignore that still. And
Yes.
yeah, so I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. All right, Emily with two E's says, I just hope the game isn't rushed. Obviously, this is the longest gap between Animal Crossing games, but we don't quite know how long Nintendo has worked on it. I'm scared they announced it too early and won't get to put in everything they wanted to. Probably just my paranoia, but regardless, I know the game will be great. And I guess the one thing I would say to this is I'm really glad games don't work like they used to, where they didn't have an internet connection. There was no way to patch them after the fact. Like, essentially, what was on the shelves was what you got. And
Mhm.
so I think even if if they don't have everything, or maybe they think of new things to add to Animal Crossing, that is something that can get updated. And I think
Yes.
some people they find that unfortunate because they want to feel like they've bought a complete game right from the get-go. But I don't know, I think it's just a new gaming landscape where that's always a possibility.
Right, right. And let's just hope that it's done for the best. We don't know if it's gonna happen, but hopefully, if it does, it's only to update and that we get a complete game from the beginning, and then they just enhance it slowly but surely.
Mhm.
And the last answer for this week is by Emily Anderson, yet another Emily. So she says, I'm worried that the game will somehow be a step backwards from New Leaf. I don't have any specifics on this because I'm trying not to think about it, but I will say this. My two biggest video game franchises have always been Animal Crossing and The Sims. When The Sims 4 was announced, I was probably just as hyped as I am now for Animal Crossing Switch. But then we saw gameplay and the graphics, and it seemed like The Sims 4 was The Sims 2 with a few new features and some slightly better graphics, which I still don't like. I got the game for Christmas the year it launched, but I rarely play it because it feels like they just remastered an old version of the game instead of doing something bigger and better like everyone was expecting. That's also why I'm relying on this new Animal Crossing to be so good, and I don't want to think about it being a City Folk 2 or anything like that.
Yeah, so essentially it sounds like the worry is that it's going to be not updated enough.
Right.
And it's just going to look better for the most part. So I think this just goes to show that like a lot of people are hoping for a game that's just more quality than quantity, you know?
Yes.
They don't want it to be like a tiny little update. They want it to be like a truly, I guess, improvement to whatever they've been doing so far.
Right. And it's been 6 years, 6 years at least between the last one. And I think that's plenty of time for most fans to be expecting a big change. I think it's not to sound too entitled, but I think we can expect that.
Yeah, and I will say, just as a little comment, another comment that I've been actually getting pretty often is some people actually just want that. Like they want Animal Crossing New Leaf, but it just looks better.
Mm.
And so yeah, I've seen that comment come through quite a bit. So some people are very happy with what New Leaf did, and they wouldn't mind seeing that continue. Um,
Hmm.
in a very similar fashion, just like whatever small updates. But I don't know. I think the changes that we've seen throughout Animal Crossing have been solid overall. I think we've seen a lot of good things come from the changes. So
Yes. Hmm.
I don't want you all to be afraid of it. I feel like it's gonna change, but it's still gonna feel really nice. It's gonna feel like Animal Crossing.
Yes, definitely.
All right, everybody. So we've gone a little long. I'm going to go ahead and end this show. We're going to thank you all so much for listening. If you want to be part of the conversation on all things Animal Crossing, please join the Discord. We've had so many people join, and it's so cool to meet everybody and just like have more people to talk to about this. And I think a lot of people are happy having another place to talk about Animal Crossing because some people don't have that. But anyways, you don't have to be a patron to join. It's totally free. And if you do join, you can get Sergio and my friend codes for 3DS and play with us. So if you do want to become a patron, visit patreon.com/ChewiePlaysNintendo for just $1. You can support our show. You can get tons of cool things. You can have your voice heard in these episodes, just like we just did. And you can see our current goals and things that we're doing to try to improve the show and our content. And we try to make it really worth it because it's so generous of all of you to support us. And we really appreciate it.
Yes.
If you are watching or listening on YouTube, please leave a comment about what you are worried about with Animal Crossing Switch. Whatever it is, there are a lot of worries out there. Just let us know. We're here to listen to them. And please leave a review of the show wherever you're listening. It helps the show gain some visibility and allows our community to grow. And once again, thank you for listening, and we hope you have a great week.
Goodbye, everybody.